Hi everyone, welcome to another session on NEET PG 2023 info. Today we'll be looking at NRI quota seats in All India Counselling. I think there have been a lot of queries on NRI quota seats in All India Counselling. What documents are required, when should I be, whether I should be sending across the documents now, and where should I get these documents, what is the process and who is eligible, etc. We'll cover all that in this session. And towards the end of the session, most importantly, we'll also look at what are the possibilities for NRI and how you can gain that information from documents or from ZyNerd. Now, we'll start with NRI quota. So before we go get into the entire session and the discussions, one thing, there is a Telegram group which is the link which will be available in the pin message. Please, we support all candidates with queries and clarifications in the Telegram group. You can join the Telegram group. There is no, the access is free, and we'll be supporting and responding to most of the queries that we can till the end of the counseling. We will try our level best to support in the Telegram group. Beyond that, you will also have the notifications and all other information that we share in this presentation in the YouTube description. We will be adding it once the video is put in after the live session. We will put in the video under the video section. You will have it under the All India Counselling playlist for NRI. And also one more thing before we go in case you have any doubts during the session on the topics that we are discussing, just put in your doubts, comment them on what are the possibilities, etc. We may not be able to support. If we go through that, it will be a separate session for you. Other than that, looking at possibilities we will go through, and anything on the process of NRI category seat allotment, right from the time of application, documents required till the time of joining, you can put in your queries. We will be answering that. First, we'll start at NRI quota and All India Counselling. What are the seats that are available? Maximum 15% of seats under deemed universities will be can be NRI seats. So basically, first thing to remember is that All India Counselling has only one set of seats other than government quota seats as far as MD/MS seats go. As far as MD/MS seats go, only deemed university seats are available under All India. If you're looking at private institutes, you will have to look at the state counselling, either a management quota counselling or a combined counselling within the state for the private institute seats. If you're looking at NRI private institutes, you'll have to look at state counselings. For 42 deemed universities which exist, which we have covered in our earlier sessions. If you have a doubt, you can go through the earlier sessions. Only for these 42 deemed universities, you will have seats allotted through All India Counselling. Among these 42 deemed, all are eligible for having up to 15% NRI seats. Now there is a confusion, because if for MBBS, as far as MBBS is concerned, most of them have 100, 150 or 200 MBBS seats, and 15% comes into a proper solid integer or a proper number. But as far as the MD/MS seats go, within each speciality, you will have a very minimal number of seats, let's say 10, 15 or maximum let's say 20. In that case, taking a 15% becomes very difficult. So on a rotational basis or on a preference basis, these seats are allotted by MCC. These seats are rostered into the seat matrix by MCC. Which seats come under NRI for this year, we will have to wait. But usually you see that the deemed universities very clearly intimate to MCC that non-clinical seats, not to put in non-clinical seats under NRI. It is their prerogative to decide which ones come under NRI and do it for the rest of the seats. Out of around 5,230 odd seats that were available in round 1 last year in deemed universities, 730, which is possibly around 15%, were available under NRI quota. Of these 730, only 10, less than 10, around 7 or 8 were non-clinical or paraclinical or preclinical seats. Rest of the 720 plus, majority of those seats were clinical seats which came under NRI, which is obvious because most of the NRI candidates, those who are looking at NRI seats, will be looking at clinical seats, and in case there are non-clinical, it is the prerogative of the institute to whether they should fill them under NRI, 15% NRI or not. Before we move in, one thing that we need to understand is NRI seats will be available right from round 1. In round 1, you will have NRI seats. In round 2, you will have NRI seats. And in mop-up also, you will have NRI seats to start with. So the mop-up counseling will start with a list of vacant NRI seats. There is a lot of confusion with people saying that conversion of NRI seats happen in mop-up. Therefore, in mop-up there will be no NRI seats. No. If you are an NRI and let us say you are participating in mop-up, you decide to participate in mop-up, you will have NRI seats available. And this NRI seats will be converted during the allotment process in mop-up. What happens is all NRI candidates' choices are processed for NRI seats being against the NRI seats being which are available. So every candidate will get the best choice of NRI seats, whatever is available at their rank, and that will be allotted to them. After the last NRI candidate's choice is processed and he or she gets a seat or doesn't get a seat because they did not fill in a choice which was available at that rank, there will be vacant seats, vacant NRI seats in round 3. The round 3 process of allotment is not yet over. There will be another cycle. These vacant NRI seats which nobody opted for, or whoever opted for it got a better seat, whichever NRI candidate opted for it got a better seat. So in that case, the vacant seats are still NRI seats whom nobody is going to be allotted again, right? These get converted in a second iteration within the round 3 process to, they get converted to MNG seats and they are allotted to other candidates. So if you are an NRI candidate, till R3 you will have every NRI seat available for you. In R2, whichever seat has been, whoever has joined, when candidates join a seat, that seat won't come into mop-up, but whatever seats are vacant, not allotted, or allotted and not joined in round 2 will come to mop-up. So we'll get into what is the eligibility first. This is the first query regarding eligibility. I see that NRI seats are available at my rank and I am looking for an NRI sponsor. Who will be able to sponsor me and what is the legal rule regarding this is what we'll see. One candidate is NRI. If you are an NRI, you are eligible for NRI seats, straightforward. What is an NRI? What is an NRI provision? NRIs are those candidates who have stayed abroad for more than 182 days. 182 days or more in the last year, if you have last financial year, if you have stayed abroad, then you are considered an NRI under the FEMA Act. There are other provisions too. You don't need to get it in. You don't need to understand that in detail. So candidate is NRI is the first criteria. If you are NRI, that is okay, fine. You will be eligible as an NRI itself. Second, a nearest relative of the candidate is of first degree is an NRI and is willing to sponsor you. Two criteria. One, the nearest relative of first degree is an NRI and is willing to sponsor you as a ward. This is what is the exact term that is used in the Supreme Court case which dealt with defining NRIs, who can sponsor you as an NRI. Now NRI sponsor, nearest relative is a term that we use and of first degree is a term that we use. That also has been very clearly classified. It should be your father or mother who is an NRI or your real brother or sister, in colloquial terms, own brother or sister, or your father or mother's real brother or sister, basically real uncle or aunt, their own brothers or sisters, first level, or your grandparent or grandfather or grandmother, your paternal grandfather or your grandmother, father's mother or father, or your mother's father or mother, basically your maternal grandmother or grandfather. So this is what, beyond this there is one another thing which is your maternal uncles, cousin, sons or daughters. Basically your first degree maternal uncle, your father's or mother's brother or sister will be there, right? Own brother or sister, their sons or daughters, real brother or sister, sons or daughters will also be able to sponsor you for NRI. So this is a very specific list. Beyond this, anyone sponsors for NRI, anyone sponsors you, let us say you show them as an NRI, it is legally not right. It is actually, you will actually send an affidavit saying that this person is a relative going by this particular degree of relation, and in case it is your third level, you are taking a chance with the law. So that we even though very rarely some candidates do that and get away with that, we sincerely don't suggest, because you are writing to the MCC saying that this is how, this is by first degree relation. We will also see what document MCC has asked from mop-up of last year. This may also be asked this year to ensure that this deviation is also not there. Now, NRI seats are also available for OCA and PAO candidates. In case you are an OCA or a PAO card holder, you will be eligible for this. In that case, the only certificate you need or the document that you need is your OCA card and nothing else. So this defines who is an NRI, and next we get into what are the documents required. So I know that there is a person who is a first degree relative, either my father, mother, or my grandparents, or my maternal uncle, aunt, or my first degree maternal cousins or cousins are NRIs. Now, what are the documents required? First thing that is required is that your sponsor should be an NRI. That should be confirmed, right? So proof that either you or your sponsor is NRI. What is required? Passport or visa, passport and visa, or OCA card or PAO card. In case you are your sponsor is an NRI, passport or visa is sufficient. If they are OCAs or PAOs, get an OCA card or PAO card. You don't need to produce any of these certificates. If you are an OCA or PAO, there is a Supreme Court order regarding this, that OCA or PAOs do not need to produce any other certificate. It was also notified by MCC last year, even before the start of the counselling. But for NRIs, you need NRI sponsors, you need their passport or visa. Signed by, there is no sign. It is just a document, scan copy of your passport or visa. Nothing else is required. Just get a scan copy and that needs to be sent across through email to MCC whenever they call for. Second, affidavit of relationship. First query is whether they are NRI. Second query is whether they are first degree relations to you. So a relationship affidavit needs to be submitted, which is signed by the sponsor. Your sponsor has to sign it and notarized. Okay, notarized is a term that we have mentioned over here. We will tell you what notarized is in some time. The next is affidavit of sponsorship. The first degree relation NRI sponsor should not only be satisfy the relationship rule, but also should be ready to sponsor you and should provide that in return terms. So you have a sponsorship affidavit which is signed by the sponsor and again notarized. What is notarized here? I have a sponsorship. The person can mention the relationship and the person can also mention the sponsorship. But what do you mean by notarized? Notarization of the entire affidavit can be done in three ways. One, you can have an Indian notary take the printout, take the entire affidavit in a stamp paper, get it signed by an Indian notary, send it across to your sponsor and get it signed by them. Okay, so basically the stamp paper based affidavit should be signed by a notary in India and also signed by your sponsor. You will have to send it across and then they will have to send it back. So it might take time. Do it as early as possible. Second option, then the person who is sponsoring is in a particular country. From that country, there would be a notary or a particular rule where a notary will notarize an affidavit. Get that notarized in that country by get the affidavit in that country's format, whichever country your sponsor is in. Get it notarized by there. Basically your sponsor will sign and then that will be notarized, and ask them to send it across to India. You may not need to use a stamp paper from India. It can follow the same process that the other countries' notarization has. Other countries' notarization process can be followed. And the third option is get it from an affidavit signed by the embassy. If you, let us say the embassy, you are able to get it signed by the embassy, just go to the embassy, get it signed. With the embassy sign and seal, you get the sponsorship certificate, which is also signed by your sponsor. So those are the three ways to get a signed sponsorship and a relationship affidavit notarized, either from on an Indian stamp paper by an Indian notary, or in the country of residence by the notary from that country, or from the embassy with a seal and a sign. Seal and a sign is important. Now, next is the certificate from the embassy. What is the certificate? The embassy also has to certify, saying that your sponsor is from that country. So that certificate also will show. That is an embassy. That is called an embassy certificate. They will have to certify that they have been there for this period of time and they are an NRI. And that has to be in the embassy letterhead and has to be taken at the Indian consulate, obviously the embassy or the Indian consulate at the country where the candidate is where the sponsor is currently residing. So in case you are an NRI, you will get it from that country. If your sponsor is NRI, you will get it from the country of your sponsor. The embassy certificate should be in the letterhead and signed by the embassy authority. Now these are all that are required from the sponsor basically. These are all related to your sponsor and they are required from the sponsor. Your NEET PG scorecard, I think this mentions June 8th released. We will change it to March 14th. Hope the presentation is visible. Yeah. So March 14th released one, and you need the candidate's NEET PG scorecard, which is directly the one that will be shared henceforth with you. You will have this available with your NBE login itself. The NBE login, once you log in another 2 to 3 days time, we believe that this will be available. So you can have this certificate also available with you. This needs to be sent across. Finally, there is an annexure. We will go to 7 where there is an annexure 1. It is a simple annexure which is the format of which we will tell you, saying that I am this particular roll number, application number, I have cleared the exam, etc. and I am sending across these documents. This just needs to be signed by you and sent across. There is nothing else required. It is more of a covering letter for the entire email. And here you see in 6 where it is mentioned as a relationship affidavit, right? So this is something a family tree notarized by the Tahsildar is something that the MCC had come up with from the mop-up round of last year. You go through the first round notifications, second round notifications, you will not be seeing those. You will be seeing this in the third round where they asked for the family tree document notarized by the Tahsildar. This is an addition, and notarized by the Tahsildar is a tough thing. You will have to go to the Tahsildar, you will have to get it done. There will be some issues, some reluctance in the Tahsildar to sign something without actually information. So you will have to provide all the necessary documents and convince them to get it. We are not sure whether this will be asked, and last year 1 or 2 candidates who did not send this actually were not, their applications were not rejected, but don't take a chance at all. We never ask you to take a chance based on what has happened, any deviation or any flexibility that has been provided. Check and get a family tree certificate. Many states anyways require a family tree certificate for NRI. Don't worry about the format, etc. All that it needs to mention is your relationship with the exact first degree relationship between the sponsor and you. Now all this is done, but what do I need to do? That is a query, right? What do I need to do? When will MCC ask for these documents? So what happens is, at the beginning of the counseling, when the counseling is about to begin, around a week or so, at least a week before the choice filling, MCC will put up a notice saying Indian to NRI conversion. The notice will say Indian to NRI conversion. You would have already registered, many of you would have already registered in your NBE examination as Indian. In that case, this Indian to NRI conversion means you are an Indian by citizenship, but you are looking for sponsored seats. For this purpose, somebody is sponsoring you, so you are moving from an Indian to be eligible for NRI seats. That is what it means. And you have to send across a set of certificates which we mentioned. Second, somebody who is already put in as NRI in the NBE exam brochure, they might have been NRI. The candidate themselves might have been NRI. In that case, they will have to send across the documents that are required. And in that case, what will be required? Again, you have to send across the documents in the Indian to NRI conversion. Don't misunderstand that just because you are already classified as an NRI in your NBE exam, when you log in, it says NRI, you don't need to send across the documents. No, you mentioned NRI, all the documents that are required are also required to be shared in the shared to MCC for ensuring that NRI seats are visible for you during the choice filling process. And third is a set of candidates who by mistake mentioned NRI. They are Indian candidates, the candidate is not NRI, but they wanted to get NRI seats, but by mistake mentioned NRI. last year they gave an option to change to Indian. See, this doesn't have an issue at all. Don't need to worry about this. You also send across documents. That is enough. If you want to change to Indian and the nationality to Indian and send across documents, that is also perfectly fine. Now we look at the next set of, so one important thing that we missed out is every certificate has to be in English. In case it is in a regional language, a certified copy, again notarized or by a notary, has to be produced, and the stamp paper amounts may vary. Like in some places it is mentioned 100 rupees, some places it is mentioned in the sample documents that we are showing, some places it is mentioned 200 rupees. Don't worry about it. As long as you sent across a stamp paper based affidavit, then that is fine. So here we are showing the first two documents that we discussed, for 2 and 3, documents 2 and 3. One is a passport or visa, so that is straightforward. 2 and 3 were sponsorship and relationship affidavits, right? This can be in a single document. Don't need to worry about it. You don't need to get it in a separate document. The format is over here. This we'll also share the format links below. You'll have to change the years, etc., and then do it. This, like we said, has to be signed either in a stamp paper in India and then sent across and signed by the sponsor, or in the sponsor's country itself. They can either get it notarized or get it from the embassy after signing. So this is a format. We'll share the formats. This note that sponsorship and relationship affidavits can be in the same. So this mentions that I have taken this person, your name, address as a what, then I am willing to sponsor the person. And just hold on. And then you have the list of, just hold on, we'll just take a small break. Hope everything is okay. I think so. There's some issue in between. Yeah, sorry. So this we mentioned as about the relationship affidavit and the sponsorship affidavit. See, do it as early as possible, because what happens is usually if you're going to send it to the sponsor and then they have to return back, there is a big process. You can do it even now. You can send it to the sponsor and get it done. Just ensure that the year and date and everything is done. Next is the form letter from the embassy. It is a simple letter. This is to certify that the person with the passport number, etc., is residing in the country and the person is a non-resident Indian. The embassy certificate has to have the signature, designation and seal. The signature of the person and the designation of the authority, whoever is signing, and the seal has to be taken at the consulate. One of these is missing, MCC will reject. The problem is you will have 3-4 days to send across these documents. Within these 3-4 days, let us say MCC will process the entire thing, and then it will be neck to neck and choice filling will start. You will not be able to go back to MCC and say that, let us say MCC rejects. You will not be able to go back to MCC and send across a document and get it again authorized during this period of 4-5 days of choice filling. There is one chance, and it is a tricky one. So get everything ready right away in the beginning and ensure that everything is proper. And right from the first time your sponsor goes to the embassy, clearly tell them that an embassy seal is required, and it is to be in an embassy letterhead, and the signature is required, etc. And there is the self affidavit that we said, which is in a plain paper and notarized if you wish to get it notarized. It is not required. It is just a simple self affidavit. If you wish to get the entire thing printed out and get it signed by a notary, that is also fine. Many candidates ask that, but it is not relevant or it is not meaningful, but still fine. And family tree, this is how a family tree chart usually looks like, but in many Tahsildar's office they just write the names and say that this person is related to this person and this is the relationship, like first degree relationship, first degree they have of first degree relation, and they also mention in detail how they are related through a family diagram as per whatever is family tree diagram, whichever is available or whichever is the proper format in the particular state. This you have to get from the Tahsildar's office, is what is mentioned. This usually many candidates get for their NRI, state NRI, where there is a requirement. Many states have this also as a requirement. So get it done from your family, from the Tahsildar's office. So these are the set of documents required. What do you need to do now? Get all the documents required ready. MCC will share a notification saying conversion from Indian to NRI at least a week before the registration start. Wait for the notification. There will be a 3 to 4 day timeline provided. So once MCC shares this notification of conversion from Indian to NRI, you immediately send it across. Don't wait at all. After the last date, like they will give you a last date which is someday morning 11 o'clock. After that timeline, even if it goes at 11 to, for some reason they will not give you any flexibility. You will have to run around at the last minute. So whatever you have, send it across before 11 o'clock. The rest can be managed later. In case one document is missing, you can possibly add that at a later point in time, but don't miss the deadline at all. Try to ensure that even now itself you get the documents. And keep looking at mcc.nic.in. Just when the counseling is notified, just a few days before that, possibly they will start it before the choice filling and before the starting of registration, sorry. And send across all relevant documents. Wait for the eligibility list. The eligibility list unfortunately will come around the time of choice filling only. You may not be able to go back, like we said. Fill choices for NRI in addition to other eligible seats. There was a lot of confusion. There is a lot of confusion usually on what NRI seats are and how do I fill them. Will I be eligible for management quota seats? We'll also look at that. First thing is, before round 1, if you are interested, apply. All NRI candidates are interested in seats. They are very clear in what they want and they will start from round 1. I will wait. I will be a management candidate in round 1. I will wait. In case I don't get management seats, I will go take an NRI seat in round 2. Highly likely that you will miss out. We don't say this for all India quota seats. We are not creating any fear. We don't say this for all India quota seats. 95% of all India quota seats, they will be available in round 2, not for NRI seats. NRI seats, if somebody at 77, we have seen that seats would go at 70,000 and then some seats would become vacant and somebody would come back and take them at 28,000 because they missed it in the first round. Luckily, they would have got only a seat that closed at 70,000. You would see that. So basically, if you are interested in an NRI seat, don't miss it out to a lower ranker in round 1. Start from round 1. Take that decision very clearly. If you're not interested in NRI seats, that is a different choice, but take that choice clearly. But options will be provided in round 1, round 2 and round 3 till last year. They have been provided till last year for Indian to NRI conversion. But we always suggest go from round 1. And we don't know whether mop-up round NRI conversion option will be provided. It is highly likely because of a reduced cutoff, but usually it will be provided. FAQs, we'll come to the frequently asked questions. Before we go into the frequently asked questions, we'll just look at how choices will appear. If you are an MNG candidate, how will choices be appearing? If you are an NRI candidate, how will choices be appearing? Let us say Hamdard has MD general medicine seats. Hamdard is a deemed university, has MD general medicine seats. It has both MNG seats and NRI seats. Out of the total seats, some are under MNG, some are under NRI. As an NRI candidate, first thing is you will be eligible for NRI seats as well as paid seats, the MNG seats, 85% other seats. So basically you will be eligible for every deemed university seat under All India Counselling. And second thing is, you will be eligible, you will be seeing both the choices, MNG and NRI. Till the time you are converted as NRI. Let us say choice filling starts on day 1. And NRI list comes in only on day 2 of choice filling. First day you will see only the MNG seats of Hamdard Delhi, which every candidate will see. whoever has applied for deemed university will see these seats. After the NRI eligible list is shared, if you are sent across all the documents and your documents are approved by MCC, you will be part of the NRI eligible list, and immediately you will be able to see this list of another choice, which is NRI Hamdard General Medicine. The second choice will also be visible. Now these two choices will can be put in at any order. Obviously, what order will you put it in? First MNG Hamdard Delhi and second NRI Hamdard Delhi. That will be the order that you will put in. There is no doubt about it, because if you get an MNG seat first, that you will always prefer that. Let us say there is another MNG seat which is MNG in another institute, let us say DY Patil, and NRI in DY Patil. You will have another MNG DY Patil and NRI DY Patil choice for general medicine itself. You can order these in any order. You may think that first I want to go for Hamdard management quota seat, then for DY Patil management quota seat, then Hamdard NRI or DY Patil NRI. Some may think that Hamdard is a very good institute compared to DY Patil according to their choice, and therefore I will go for Hamdard MNG. Next I will put in Hamdard NRI, even though the fee is high, I may decide so, then DY Patil MNG and DY Patil NRI. So within a particular choice, obviously you will put in the MNG first, but order of choices you can do it any way you want between specialties, etc. Each one is a separate seat. The choice of seat plus fee decides where each choice is. You will be able to list out every MNG plus NRI choice in any order that you want, which is your order of preference based on your choice. What are the seats you are eligible for? NRI seats you are eligible for. We also said you are eligible for MNG seats and AIQ seats. If you select All India quota and you select DNB post MBBS or DNB quota, you will be eligible for AIQ and DNB seats as well. But you have to select those choices, so you will have to look at that part as well. Is it on? Okay, so we'll look at what seats candidates who are NRI not eligible for, who will select NRI, change from Indian to NRI. In case you belong to Jain minority or Muslim minority, you will lose the Jain minority or Muslim minority seats. Like in the example, Hamdard has Jain minority or Muslim minority seats. So you will, in case you have selected Muslim as religion in Hamdard as Muslim minority seats. In case you have selected Muslim in the NBE exam application, you will be able to see Hamdard Jain minority seats. But once you are converted to NRI, you will not Hamdard Muslim minority seats. Once you are converted to NRI, you will not see that seats. Can a distant relative or a second degree relative sponsor? Legally, they can't sponsor. It is a clear answer. No, as per NRI rules. In case you are going ahead with it, it is as good as changing a category certificate, changing your marks, changing your institute, etc. It is against the rules. If I apply as NRI in All India counselling, will I be considered as NRI in all states? No. When you apply for All India counselling, send your documents to MCC. It is only with respect to All India counselling. State counselling will have a separate application form. You will have to apply for state as NRI separately. They might have a different eligibility criteria in itself. Many states have some states have a liberal criteria. Some states have a priority saying first I allot my state NRI candidates and then I allot another state NRI candidates, etc. Some states allow spouses to be NRI sponsors, even though there is a little deviation with respect to what the Supreme Court had ordered, which was limited to deemed universities, however. So each state will have a separate criteria. Look at that criteria. This criteria, whatever we have discussed, is only with respect to All India counselling. Don't go by this limiting, saying that this is what was mentioned as first degree relation, so my state will not allow me. Go to your state, apply separately based on the state eligibility criteria. Reservation in All India quota seats. That is the next thing that is always a confusion. In the prospectus information brochure of MCC, it would be mentioned that they are not candidates who apply as NRI or get converted to NRI will not be eligible for any other quota. That means Jain minority quota and Muslim minority quota. In case you belong to a particular category of OBC, SC, ST, EWS in India, you are an Indian citizen still, and you select AEQ or DNB post MBBS seats, you will be eligible for reservation in All India quota seats and in DNB post MBBS or NBE Diploma seats in the government hospitals. State government hospitals offering DNB post MBBS and NBE Diploma have reservations, so you will be able to get them. Admissions. During admissions, while you registering, you will register for deemed and you will pay 2 lakhs for MCC as a security deposit. After round 2, if you are allotted a seat and you don't join the seat, you will lose that. Other than that, this 2 lakhs is only with MCC. You will have to make the entire first year fee payment to the deemed institute through wire transfer from the foreign account of the individual. Candidate and second, candidate has to be physically present. In case wire transfer is not possible, an NRE account based transfer from the NRE account, not an NRO account, from an NRE account is allowed, which is a foreign account, and that is also possible, but from the sponsor's account. Flexibility on this is a query. Some candidates always have this confusion on physically being available at the institute during reporting, and also because they stay somewhere else, they will come in at a later point in time. They have to come in only for the admissions for round 1, round 2, etc. And in terms of fees being paid directly by you and not the sponsor, not from the sponsor's account. Both are flexibility which many institutes offer. You have to check with the institute, though it is supposed to be this way. This flexibility you have to check with the institute only. Even though it is some institutes do offer flexibility, saying that you can now pay, you later get it from the sponsor, or pay the first year fee through this and get later from the sponsor. It happens, so you can check it with the institute. In case you connect with them now, they may not give you a very positive answer. But note that there are institutes which will not allow this. Definitely, some of the institutes we know of, they will say no, you have to get it wire transferred or through an NRA account. So it is always better to have that option. If you're looking at those institutes, you can check now too. And finally, so hope most of the queries are answered. We will now look at the comments in the YouTube video, whatever, and then we will go into the how to use this entire thing in ZyNerd. How all such documents are valid? Last year's don't use them. Get one this year. If you are taken in August or November, August or October, etc., don't use them. Get a new embassy certificate. See, the thing is, if you don't have anything else, you can't get a new embassy certificate. There is an issue. You send it across, knowing that it can be, there is a possibility of a rejection. And after rejection, you will lose your first round, and you will have to go back to your sponsor anyways and get a certificate. Always better to get a recent certificate for this year taken after the examinations. And that's pretty much what we have as far as the queries are concerned. And what we will look at is how to use ZyNerd in terms of looking at NRI information. So here you go into the closing ranks of ZyNerd, and we are looking at All India Counselling, right? Look into All India Counselling and look into quota as NRI. So that is straight away what you look for NRI. If you are NRI, you are also eligible for management, AEQ, DNB post MBBS, everything. But still you look at NRI. We look at how to look at NRI. Let us say I am rank above 45,000. I am looking. Let us say I take an example of 50,000. I look at all seats above 42,000 or 40,000, and then move on to 1 lakh, whatever maximum range that you want. And now look at, very simple. There is nothing else that you need to do. Every NRI seat is a general category seat. So you will see the same number of records. 290 different seats have been there under NRI category. You can further now list down on either fee. You are looking at something not more than 40 lakhs. And you are looking at radio diagnosis. Whether this was available is what you can check. And the system will give you information on that. No seats were available. So you will have. So you see that even you see that most of the radio diagnosis seats for NRI were above 40 lakhs. So this entire thing that you can do it based on the fee structure that you are looking at. Let us say you are looking at something below 70 lakhs. You can say 0 to 70 lakhs is my budget, or 75 lakhs is my budget for NRI seats. You can have a look at it. The amount will be mentioned over here. You will also have fee and factors in terms of mode of payment, how it has to be paid, whether it has deduction is after, whether what will be the deduction, and in case you are looking at stipend, and what will be the fee for resignation after you if in case you join a round 2 seat and you resign later, it will be 3 years full fee that you have to pay. 2 or 3 institutes like Vinayaka, etc. So those institutes, the Vinayaka group of institutes, we'll just check which are the institutes too, will ask you to pay the total fee for 3 years, $1,80,000 total fee for this particular course, MD General Medicine, is to be paid initially itself at the time of joining. At the time of admission, it will be $1,50,000 to be paid at the time of admissions, $30,000 to be paid at the time of course commencement. So admissions, you have to carry $1,50,000, which is 3 years fee for these institutes alone, 2 or 3 institutes, all the Vinayaka group institutes and one set of institutes. You can check that in, just check if it is Mahatma Gandhi. It's not Mahatma Gandhi. So it is Arupadai Veedu and the associated institutes from Arupadai Veedu. So here too you will have to pay the entire course fee of $1,50,000 plus whatever is remaining, $1,50,000 during the admissions, and then later $80,000 during the course commencement, the entire fee for 3 years. All others will ask for the first year fee alone. You will pay the first year fee. It is in dollars. We have converted into rupees over here. You will be able to see every courses. Let us say you want to look at general surgery and where it closed. You have the entire information for NRI seats here. It went on even till 82,000 in round 2, and in case you are looking at general surgery in some of these institutes, you can have a look at these. Some institutes may not have had general surgery seats in the further rounds, so you can have a look at that too. So that is pretty much what we have. You can have a look at the information in ZyNerd. If you're looking at specific states, you can look at states, and if you're looking at institutes with bond, NRI institute, there is bond in certain institutes for NRI seats and as well, so you can have a look at it as well. So this is pretty much what we have. We'll see if there are any other queries and then we'll close this. Documents required for NRI, we have already covered that, sir. Ramachandra Reddy sir, we have already covered that right from the beginning. You can go back to the beginning and all the documents required and money to be paid in dollars. Yes, the clarification on some institutes allowing flexibility on this, and whether they need to allow, we have already covered it. They may allow, but it is not a given because actually it has to be paid in dollars. Some institutes definitely don't allow, so don't go by generic information saying that you will be able to pay it in dollars. If I get a certificate right now, will it be valid till the end of the counseling? Definitely, you can get a certificate right now. Get an embassy certificate now. It will be or any other certificate, sponsorship, every certificate, it will definitely be valid till the end of the counseling. So you had asked earlier that all certificates are required, allowed or not. Yeah, it will be there. So that is pretty much. Just go in case you have just joined. Just go through the earlier parts of the video. We started around almost an hour, 45 minutes back, and you will be able to get all information on NRIs. All the best. Do well. Keep evaluating institutes till the counseling starts. This is the best time to keep evaluating institutes. Directly connect with residents. We do that. We tell this at the end of every session because more than anything, you might have options, but between the options, what you get should be the best that you deserve. All the best.